Do you ever look at a sunset and feel something that you cannot name? You see the reds, the oranges, the purples bleeding into the darkening sky. You feel the cool breeze on your skin. You hear the rustle of the leaves, and for a moment, just a fleeting moment, you feel a sense of overwhelming connection. You feel like you are not just a person watching the world, but that you are part of the world. You feel like the line between you and everything else has blurred. We usually call this poetry, we call it art, we call it spirituality. But what if I told you that this feeling, this sense of shimmering, interconnected, impossible beauty, is actually physics? We have made a terrible mistake in how we teach science. We have taught it as a series of cold, hard facts. We have taught it as a machine. We have taught it as a puzzle to be solved, a test to be passed, a set of equations to be memorized. We have stripped the magic out of the mechanism. We tell you that quantum physics is weird. We tell you it is spooky. We tell you it is hard. But we rarely tell you that it is beautiful. We rarely tell you that quantum physics is the scientific proof that you are not a cog in a machine, but a note in a symphony. We rarely tell you that the laws of the subatomic world are the laws of hope, of connection, and of infinite potential. Today we're going to change that. We are going to put down the calculator and pick up the canvas. We are going to stop trying to understand the math and start trying to feel the music. If you are ready to stop looking at the universe as a problem to be fixed and start seeing it as a masterpiece to be admired, please hit that subscribe button right now, because we are about to take a journey into the heart of reality, and I promise you, it is breathtaking. Let's start with the canvas itself, the nature of matter. Look at your hand, look at the skin, the fingerprints, the solidity of it. It looks like a barrier, doesn't it? It looks like a wall that separates you from the air. But if we had eyes that could see the quantum reality, that hand would dissolve. We are taught that atoms are like little solar systems, a nucleus in the middle and electrons orbiting around it like planets. But that is a lie. That is a cartoon. The reality is so much more elegant. Imagine a cathedral, a massive towering cathedral. Now imagine a single fruit fly buzzing in the center of that cathedral. That fruit fly is the nucleus. The walls of the cathedral are where the electrons live. Everything in between, all that vast echoing space, is empty. You are 99.9999999% empty space. But here is the beauty. It isn't empty in the sense of being nothing. It is empty in the sense of being filled with potential. The only reason you can touch the table, the only reason you don't phase through the floor, is because of forces, invisible fields of energy dancing with each other. The electrons in your hand push against the electrons in the table. They never actually touch. Nothing ever really touches anything. When you kiss someone, your lips never truly meet. There is always a tiny, microscopic distance between you, bridged by the exchange of photons, bridged by light. You are hovering, you are floating, you are a ghost made of force fields, interacting with a world made of force fields. This is beautiful because it means that solidity is an illusion created by interaction. It means that we are not heavy, dense lumps of meat. We are woven out of energy. We are woven out of light. Now let's look at the movement of this energy. Let's look at the beauty of uncertainty. In the old world, the Newtonian world, everything was determined. If you knew the position and speed of a ball, you knew exactly where it would land. It was a clockwork universe. It was boring. It was a prison of cause and effect. Quantum physics broke the prison. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle tells us that you cannot know everything about a particle at once. The more you know its position, the less you know its momentum. To a scientist, this is a limit on measurement. But to an artist, this is the freedom of the universe. It means that at the fundamental level, nature refuses to be pinned down. Nature refuses to be predictable. Think about an electron. It doesn't move in a straight line. It moves as a wave of probability. It isn't here or there. It is maybe here and maybe there. It explores every possible path at once. This is the beauty of potential. Every subatomic particle in your body is living in a state of infinite possibility until the moment it is observed. This is not chaos, this is jazz. The universe is improvising. It is playing a melody that has never been played before. If the universe was deterministic, your life would be a script that was written at the Big Bang and you would just be reciting the lines. You would be a robot. But because the universe is quantum, because there is a fundamental fuzziness at the bottom of reality, there is room for chance, there is room for choice, there is room for the new. You are beautiful because you are unpredictable. You are a collection of particles that are constantly making choices, constantly collapsing from a wave of maybe into a particle of now. You are a walking, breathing creativity engine. Now let's talk about the most romantic concept in all of physics: entanglement. We talk about this as a way to build computers or teleport information. We treat it like a tool. But step back and look at what it really implies. Two particles interact, they touch, and then they separate. One goes to the other side of the galaxy. But they remain linked. If you spin one, the other spins, instantly, across billions of miles of void. They are no longer two things, they are one thing stretched across the cosmos. Now remember the Big Bang. 14 billion years ago, everything in the universe, every atom in your body, every atom in the stars, every atom in the ocean, every atom in the person you love was crushed together in a single point. We were all touching, we were all one. Then the universe exploded, we flew apart. But if quantum entanglement holds true, then the connection was never broken. We are still entangled. The atoms in your heart are dancing with the atoms in the heart of a star 1,000,000 light years away. The atoms in your breath are linked to the atoms in the ocean. This explains that deep, aching sense of connection we feel when we look at nature. It explains why we feel lonely when we are isolated and why love feels like coming home. We are not separate islands floating in a dark sea. We are a single, shimmering web of light. When you look at another person, you are not looking at a stranger. You are looking at a part of yourself that is currently living a different experience. This isn't just poetry. This is the math of the universe. We are all stardust, yes, but we are entangled stardust. We are a family that has been stretched out but never severed. Is there anything more beautiful than that? Now let's look at the beauty of the quantum leap. We use this phrase to mean a big change, a quantum leap in technology. But in physics, a quantum leap is actually the source of all color. Imagine an atom. The electron is orbiting the nucleus. But it isn't like a planet that can orbit anywhere. It has to orbit on specific tracks, specific energy levels. It's like a staircase. You can stand on the first step or the second step. You cannot stand in between. When an electron jumps from a high step to a low step, it loses energy. Where does that energy go? It doesn't disappear, it transforms. It is released as a photon, a particle of light. The color of that light depends on the size of the jump. A big jump might be blue, a small jump might be red. Think about what this means. Every color you have ever seen, the blue of the ocean, the green of the grass, the red of a rose, the warm glow of a candle. It is all caused by the dance of electrons. It is caused by tiny particles falling down a staircase and singing out a note of light as they fall. The world is literally painted by the movement of the quantum realm. If the electrons didn't jump, if they could just slide around anywhere, the world would be a gray blur. There would be no crisp spectral lines. There would be no rainbows. The rainbow is a quantum phenomenon. It is the visible signature of the invisible rules of the atom. So when you appreciate a painting or a sunset, you are appreciating the quantum choreography of the universe. You are seeing the music of the spheres. Now let's go deeper. Let's talk about the void. We are terrified of nothingness. We are terrified of the dark. But in quantum physics, there is no such thing as empty space. The vacuum is not empty. It is seething with life. It is filled with virtual particles. Particles and antiparticles are constantly popping into existence, borrowing energy from the vacuum, dancing for a billionth of a second, and then crashing back together and vanishing. The empty space in front of your face right now is a boiling ocean of creation and destruction. The universe is breathing. It is constantly checking to see if it exists. It is constantly bubbling with a low-level hum of energy. This is the zero-point energy. This is beautiful because it means that existence is the default state. The universe abhors a true vacuum. It wants to be, it wants to exist. Even in the deepest, darkest, coldest reaches of outer space, there is a spark, there is a dance. You are never truly in the dark. You are swimming in a sea of latent potential. And then there is the beauty of tunneling. In the classical world, if you don't have enough energy to climb a wall, you are stuck. You hit the wall and you stop. But in the quantum world, particles can walk through walls. If an electron encounters a barrier that is too high for it to climb, there is a small probability that it will just appear on the other side. It borrows energy from the future, it cheats the system, it tunnels through the impossible. This is how the sun shines. The protons in the sun repel each other. They shouldn't be able to fuse, but they tunnel through the barrier, fuse, and create the light that gives us life. This is the physics of hope. It tells us that obstacles are not absolute. It tells us that even when the odds are against you, even when the wall seems too high, there is always a non-zero probability of making it through. The universe allows for miracles. It allows for the impossible to happen. It tells us that reality is softer than we think, that barriers are just suggestions. Now let's consider the most profound beauty of all. The observer. For centuries, science told us that we were irrelevant. It told us that the universe was a giant machine that would run exactly the same way whether we were here or not. It told us we were accidental spectators on a lonely rock. Quantum physics flipped the script. The double-slit experiment showed us that the behavior of matter changes when it is watched. When we don't look, the world is a wave. When we look, it becomes a particle. This implies that consciousness is not just a byproduct of the universe. It is a fundamental part of the engine. You are not just watching the movie, you are directing it. Your attention creates reality. This is a terrifying responsibility, but it is also a beautiful gift. It means that the universe wants to be seen. It means that the universe grew eyes, your eyes, so that it could look at itself and marvel at its own beauty. You are the universe waking up. When you look at a flower, you are not just a biological machine looking at a biological object. You are the observer collapsing the wave function of the flower. You are making it real. You are pulling it out of the sea of probability and giving it form and color. Without you, the flower is just a ghost. With you, it is a masterpiece. This is the ultimate validation of human existence. We matter, we are necessary. We are the witnesses that turn the chaos into the cosmos. So how do we live with this appreciation? How do we walk through the world carrying this knowledge? We stop trying to solve our lives and we start trying to experience them. We stop looking for certainty and we start embracing the wave. When you feel anxious about the future, remember the uncertainty principle. Remember that the future is not written. It is a cloud of probability, and you have the power to collapse it with your choices. When you feel lonely, remember entanglement. Remember that you are woven into the fabric of the stars. You are never, ever disconnected. When you feel stuck, remember tunneling. Remember that the wall is not as solid as it looks. There is always a way through. When you see beauty, remember the quantum leap. Remember that the light you see is the song of the atom. We need to reclaim the wonder. We need to stop thinking of science as the opposite of spirituality. They are two languages describing the same miracle. One uses equations, one uses verses, but they are both talking about the same thing. They are talking about the mystery of being. There is a famous quote by the physicist Richard Feynman. He was talking about a flower. His artist friend said, "I, as an artist, can see how beautiful this flower is, but you, as a scientist, take it all apart and it becomes a dull thing." Feynman replied, "I think you are crazy. I can see the beauty you see, but I see more. I see the cells inside. I see the molecular action. I see the fact that the colors evolved to attract insects to pollinate it. All kinds of interesting questions which the science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower. It only adds. I don't understand how it subtracts." That is the secret. Quantum physics adds to the beauty. It doesn't subtract. It adds depth, it adds texture, it adds a sense of the infinite. It tells us that the world is not mundane. There is no such thing as a mundane object. A rock is a dancing field of energy. A glass of water is a collection of ancient molecules held together by quantum love. The air you breathe is a sea of virtual particles popping in and out of existence. You are walking through a gallery of masterpieces every single day. You just have to learn to see the brush strokes. You have to learn to see the fuzziness at the edges. You have to learn to love the blur. So the next time you feel small, the next time you feel like the world is cold and mechanical, close your eyes. Visualize the atoms in your body. Visualize the vast, empty cathedrals of space inside you. Visualize the electrons dancing in clouds of possibility. Visualize the invisible threads of entanglement connecting you to the person sitting next to you and to the quasar at the edge of the universe. And realize that you are not a thing, you are a process. You are a song being sung by the cosmos. You are a poem written in the language of light. And it is beautiful, it is so, so beautiful. If this journey into the aesthetic soul of science moved you, if it made you look at your hand or the sky a little differently, please hit that like button. It helps us share the beauty with more observers. And if you want to keep exploring the intersection of science, philosophy, and wonder, hit subscribe. We are going to keep asking the big questions. We are going to keep looking for the magic in the mechanism. Let me know in the comments, which concept do you find most beautiful? Is it the connection of entanglement or the freedom of uncertainty? I'll see you in the next probability. Stay beautiful.